She was more than just a princess. She was a phenomenon, a force of nature, a woman who defied the monarchy, the media, and the expectations of the world. Princess Diana wasn't just part of the royal family. She redefined what it meant to be royal. But was she loved too much, hated too much, or was she simply too powerful for those who wished to control her? Her tragic death on August 31st, 1997, sent shockwaves across the globe, sparking grief. Was it truly an accident, or was there something else behind the crash in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris? Stay with us as we unravel the darkest, most controversial secrets of the royal family, secrets they never wanted you to know. Who was Princess Diana? She was just 20 years old when she walked down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral wearing an ivory silk gown embroidered with 10,000 pearls. The world watched as Lady Diana Spencer became Princess of Wales, the wife of Prince Charles, heir to the British throne. But this was no fairy tale. What the cameras didn't capture was the cold reality behind palace walls, a world where duty overshadowed love, where tradition suffocated individuality, and where a young woman, full of life and warmth, found herself trapped in an institution that saw her as nothing more than a royal accessory. But Diana was different. She refused to be just another royal figurehead. She had a voice, and she used it fearlessly. In 1987, she did something that shocked the world. She shook hands with an AIDS patient, a simple gesture, but one that challenged global stigma. The media exploded. Doctors, politicians, and the public watched in awe and disbelief as she proved that compassion was stronger than fear. And the royal family, silent, distant, unmoved. Diana was no longer just a princess. She was a revolution, a global icon. But with fame came unrelenting scrutiny. The marriage crumbled. The world watched as the once enchanted couple turned into bitter strangers. Affairs, scandals, betrayals, every secret spilled into the merciless tabloids. In 1996, the divorce was final. Diana was free, or so it seemed. But could she ever truly be free? She was still the most photographed woman on the planet. The press hounded her. The palace distanced itself further. And yet, she was still the beating heart of the royal family. Then came Dodi Al-Fayed, the billionaire's son. The man who made her laugh again. The man who, in the eyes of the British establishment, was not welcome. August 31st, 1997, Paris. A black Mercedes S280 speeds through the night. Diana, Dodi Al-Fayed, their driver, Henry Paul, paparazzi chase them relentlessly. The city's lights blur into a nightmare. Then impact. The car crashes into the 13th pillar of the Pont de l'Alma tunnel sealant. She was 36 years old, gone. The world stood still. A collective grief unlike anything before. People wept in the streets, leaving mountains of flowers outside Kensington Palace. And yet the royal family remained silent. No public statement, no visible grief. Nothing. The silence was deafening. Earl Spencer, Diana's brother, broke that silence. His words cut like a knife. "I always believed the press would kill her in the end. But not even I could imagine that they would take such a direct hand in her death." Every editor, every photographer has blood on their hands. The official verdict? Henry Paul was drunk. He lost control. The paparazzi made it worse. Case closed, but for millions, the story didn't add up. Why were the CCTV cameras in the tunnel mysteriously turned off that night? Why was there no clear footage of the crash? Why did eyewitnesses report a blinding flash of light just before impact? And most chillingly, why was Diana's ambulance delayed for over an hour, despite being just 4 miles from the hospital? 25 years later, Diana's legacy refuses to fade. Her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, carry her memory, her defiance, her humanity. They challenge the traditions of the monarchy, just like their mother did. But as time passes, one question remains. Was Diana's death truly an accident, or the final chapter in a story that some wanted to end? Princess Diana's Tapes, Royal Betrayals, and the Monarchy's Darkest Secrets. The year was 1995. The world watched as Princess Diana, dressed in a striking black blazer, sat across from journalist Martin Bashir on BBC's Panorama. But she wasn't just sitting there. She was dismantling the royal image brick by brick. "There were 3 of us in this marriage," she confessed. Her voice steady but wounded, sending shockwaves through Buckingham Palace. The nation held its breath. Bulimia, betrayal, a monarchy that was crumbling under the weight of its own secrets. This was no ordinary royal interview. This was a rebellion. But Diana's words didn't just expose a failing marriage. They exposed the dark machinery of the British royal family, a monarchy obsessed with control, image, and above all, silence. Fast forward to 2019, and the same institution faced another disaster. Prince Andrew, the Queen's second son, sat across from the BBC's Emily Maitlis, attempting to explain away his connection to Jeffrey Epstein, the notorious sex trafficker. This was meant to be a defense. Instead, it became a royal catastrophe. "I don't sweat," he bizarrely claimed, trying to discredit his accuser's account of their alleged meeting. The public wasn't buying it. Just like Diana's interview had threatened the monarchy's moral authority in 1995, Andrew's interview in 2019 shattered what little was left of the royal family's credibility. And then, in 2021, came another interview that sent Buckingham Palace into full-blown crisis mode, this time from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Sitting opposite Oprah Winfrey, Meghan's voice trembled as she recalled a disturbing conversation. There were concerns about how dark Archie's skin would be, she revealed, and the world gasped. A monarchy once accused of neglecting Diana's suffering was now being accused of racism. And once again, the royal family was silent. But here's the question. Is history repeating itself? Diana and Meghan, 2 women who walked into the palace believing in fairy tales. 2 women who soon learned that the crown was not made of gold, it was made of chains. But while Diana was trapped in a loveless marriage, Meghan was battling an entire institution. According to historian Robert Lacey, Diana might have sympathized with Meghan, but she wouldn't have fully agreed with her. Why? Because despite everything, Diana still believed in the monarchy. Diana understood that the monarchy was bigger than one person, Lacey claims. She would have believed that Meghan failed to grasp that. Would Diana have supported Harry and Meghan's decision to leave? Or would she have urged them to fight for change from within? But one thing is certain. Diana would have been heartbroken over the feud between Harry and William. At the 2022 Diana Awards, Prince William spoke with admiration about his mother's legacy. There is no better way to honor her than by recognizing those who help others. But just hours later, in the same event, Prince Harry took the mic, delivering a message that sounded almost like a direct response to his brother. "My mother taught me to stand up and fight for a better world." Was this an innocent tribute or a hidden declaration of war? Diana knew she had to get her story out before they silenced her. That's why, in 1991, she sat alone in her room, pressed the record button, and started speaking. These weren't just diary entries. These were confessions, secrets, cries for help. And she handed them over to Dr. James Colthurst, a trusted friend who delivered them straight to journalist Andrew Morton. And the result? The 1992 bestseller, Diana, Her True Story, in her own words. At the time, Buckingham Palace dismissed it as tabloid gossip. No one knew that every word had come straight from Diana's lips. Not until after her death. But here's what few realize. Diana's tapes weren't just about her personal pain. She talked about suicide attempts, Camilla, Charles's coldness, and the way she was treated like an outsider. She even revealed a horrifying detail. Her struggle with bulimia started because Prince Charles once grabbed her waist and said, "A bit chubby here, aren't we?" The People's Princess was not just a victim of a failed marriage. She was a woman battling a system that wanted to break her. Diana's tapes revealed more than just personal struggles. They exposed the deep-rooted dysfunction in the royal family. Consider these shocking facts. Diana and Charles were actually distant relatives, 16th cousins once removed. Before Diana, Charles dated her sister, Sarah Spencer. Diana's grandmother was a lady-in-waiting to the Queen Mother. She messed up her wedding vows, calling her husband Philip Charles instead of Charles Philip, a bad omen in hindsight. And then there was the paparazzi harassment. 30 men on motorbikes, spitting at her, blocking her path. Prince William and Harry recalled the horror of watching their mother being hunted, a princess in a cage, a woman screaming into the void, and a monarchy that chose silence. But silence is no longer an option, because now her story is ours to tell. What if Diana had lived to see today? What if her story was never meant to be a tragedy, but a warning? And what other secrets still lurk behind the palace walls? Subscribe to Mystery Media, because the truth is never what it seems.